and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lauren, filmmaker extraordinaire. Today we are going to be doing the next section of the Hollywood game plan, Get Focused.
I was kissing you with my eyes open, but you said keep them closed.
The first part of this section is all about launching the 5-step job search. Now, they mentioned that your first job doesn't have to be your dream job. It doesn't have to be your ideal job. It just has to be one that gets you in the door. Now, this feels really, especially relevant to me because I'm currently looking for a job in LA, and, you know, I would love it to be one of my, top, really an ideal job, but I understand that right now I just need a job, basically, and I would love it to be something that I'm interested in at least, but doesn't need to be my number one dream job that, keeps me going, in times of trial. It just needs to get me to where I need to be, which is the purpose of this job. So, what are the 5 steps? 1. Reach out to everyone you know and ask for help in your specific job search. Basically, you can say, just let them know you're looking for a job, maybe what exactly you're looking into, use social media, like LinkedIn, or even Instagram and Facebook, just to be like, hey, look, hey, I'm looking for a job. But seriously, whatever works. Additionally, you want to be just saying, or if you know anyone who might, help give you some advice, just to see who the people you know know. You follow me? And the book does also remind you and me and anyone that getting hired is a numbers game. I have applied to so many jobs at this point, and I've had some interviews, had a lot of rejections, but you just need one yes, really, so I'm pushing through. Number 2, constantly check job industry websites and apply to any job that you're even remotely interested in. If you're looking for assistant listings, there's entertainmentcareers.net, showbizjobs.com, production sites can include productionnotices.com, mandy.com, and Production Hub. Now, some of these places do have paid memberships where you have to pay to get access to the job details, pay to apply, and that you kind of have to weigh, decide for yourself if it feels like that's worth spending money towards. In my opinion, I haven't paid money towards any of these memberships yet. If I move out to LA and after a week I do not have a job yet, then I will probably pay a little bit of money to try to access one of these resources, but just try to do it for 1 month so I'm not spending an insane amount of money looking for a job to make money when I don't have an income, because that just gets really messy and complicated. The book recommends you check all the sites every single day and you apply to every job every day that you're interested in. Obviously don't double apply to a job, but if there's a new job, apply right away. I do not check every site every day. I check at least 2 sites a day usually, but I do not check all of them because it just gets really exhausting, and I'm focusing on also training for a trip and moving. So there's a lot going on. And maybe that's why I don't have a job yet, even though I've applied to over 70 places. But anyways, definitely when things are getting more crisis level, I will be checking all the sites every day. Looking for a job is basically a job. The word that the book talks about for temp agencies is that if you have any kind of clerical skills, then you can look for a temp agency, and it may lead to a full-time job, and they recommend looking at Friedman Personal or Apple One. And they do also say that you should try to go in person to interview at these places because they get so many emails, but if you show up in person with your resume and looking professional, that can give you a nice step up, which makes a lot of sense. Number 3, make cold calls and contact companies directly. So all the big companies have, websites, they have phone numbers, they have emails, at least vague ones. So they just heckle. There's also IMDb Pro, which has a lot of information, but after a month again, you have to pay for it. So that's something that, as I've already kind of stated, I'm not paying any money right now. I'm saving kind of my free trials. And is someone calling me? No. I'm saving my free trials of things for when I'm feeling a little more desperate than I am right now. So that way I don't have to pay right away when I get out there. I have a little bit of leeway time to utilize those resources if I need to. Now, apparently the best time to call is between 11 a.m. and 12 p.m., 3 to 4 p.m., and after 7 p.m. Then it says, once you get all the way through the directory, start again. So if the recurring theme here is you're going to have to be going through the same resources over and over and over again, and just reaching out in any way you can and hoping that one of your times you're, shooting the arrow, it hits the target. 4, follow up a job dependent on it, because it does. This recommends to check back every 2 to 3 weeks to see if there's any new openings at the company, as well as just like checking in. Hey, if you have a contact, did you get my application? What's up? I have been following up with certain people like every 2 weeks, so I think that's like pretty much a good rule of thumb. Every week, if you can do that and they don't tell you like to slow down, that's fine. Every day is definitely too much. I feel like 2 weeks is like a good sweet spot. 5, set up a system and try to find someone to hold you accountable. Now, they recommend spending at least 3 hours a day on the job search. I feel like sometimes I spend at least 2 hours a day. I don't know about 3 hours. I don't time myself per se. I just like play some music and like get grinding basically. Ideally, you're spending 6 hours a day apparently looking for a job, but that's really insane. I think the key thing is the accountability partner. For me, I feel like I have my future roommate who's like asking me how job search is going, and then like my parents. And then I think I do a pretty good job of holding myself accountable, but I can definitely understand that not everybody can do that as well, and you need maybe a little bit of a nudge. And it's great to have someone just to check in with me, like, hey, I applied to X places this week. How about you? Have you followed up? You know, that kind of thing. The next section is learn the secret of the power prep for preparation. Basically, you get to be part detective, part researcher, and part performer when it comes to the interview. Because you need to find out everything you can about the person you're meeting with, prepare yourself intellectually, emotionally, and you need to dress the part. Now there's the basics with the professional background of like, what's the current job title? What does that actually mean? Because job titles could mean literally anything. What does the company do? How big is the company? Looking at previous jobs and companies, previous titles, any past projects, any career accomplishments, any professional organizations. And then they also recommend that if you're meeting with a production coordinator, like for a gig, to find out everything you can about everyone else involved in the production. That way, if you mention something, be like, oh, well, I know so-and-so is working in the grip department or the art department, whatever it is. But just so that you have a pretty good sense of an overall idea of what's going on. Then there is the personal info. Now, do not be a stalker. Don't like pay someone to privately investigate anyone. Just utilize what is accessible and public on the web. You know, social media, if they're public. If they're private, you know, obviously, if you're not following them already, don't like try to follow them. What's they have on LinkedIn? Is there any article? Are there any articles written about them? Can you find anything out about them on IMDb? You know, utilize what's already accessible to you in a discreet and tactful manner. You want to know schools, sports, family, hobbies, charities, any communities, that kind of thing. Maybe you're hoping to find a connection, right? You're hoping to find a link. Oh, I went to that school. Oh, I do this, play this sport. We have the same hobby. We donate to the same charity. We believe in the same cause. We're just looking for something that you can connect with somebody on. For instance, I've gotten positions because of Temple, being a Temple student when I was a Temple student with other Temple alumni. And that's a connection, right? Before any kind of an interview, you also want to know the business well enough to be a part of it. So the book recommends spending at least an hour just reading about general business developments and gossip. So you want to look at Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Deadline Hollywood. They even said Gawker. Basically doing in-depth research as well in your specific area. So that way if they ask you, you know, what movies are you excited to see, you're not like, I have no idea what movies are coming out, or I have no clue what just happened. Like, for instance, with the IATSE thing going on. When that happened, if you had no clue what was going on with IATSE, they're like, you obviously are not paying attention to the industry. So they want to make sure that, you know, you have your head not in the sand, basically. Then comes some more of the performance aspect, whereas come up with something interesting to talk about. Obviously, you're going to be asking questions, but they're going to ask you a lot of questions, and they want to see what you have to offer, and you don't want to be like, I have nothing to say, because they're not going to want anyone who has nothing to say, nothing to connect with, nothing interesting. The whole business is about storytelling, you know, have a story to tell. They also recommend that you have questions that show you did your homework. So that way, like something that not just anyone would ask, but something you may even know the answer to. Something you can't necessarily explicitly find the answer to, but like a question that shows that you did research. And also, if you have any uncontroversial news items to discuss, because you don't want to pick the wrong side of a topic if you're looking for a job. Then there's a bit of a nice confidence boost the book talks about, whereas it's knowing what you have to offer and practicing your personal pitch. Because you have so many talents. It might seem like you have no talents if you've been rejected from lots of jobs like me, but it's important to remember that everyone has something new and innovative they can bring to the table, and remembering that you are a talented person, and just like they're interviewing you, you're interviewing them because you have stuff to bring to the team, to the project, to make it better. Also recommend that you Google yourself before you meet with anyone, see what they're finding when they Google you, just to make sure you have a nice, clean, online image. Do you know where you're going? Please tell me you know where you're going. Confirm the date, the time, and the place, and plan to show up at least 10 minutes early, and if it's a studio, show up 20 minutes early, because you gotta walk all over that lot to get to where you want to go. And always, always, always be kind to the assistants, be kind to the receptionists. They can be very strong allies, according to the book, and also you should just be polite and a good person in general. So, do you know the Hollywood dress code? Always dress to impress, regardless if it's a PA job, an executive assistant job, whatever job, dress to impress. Unless you're trying to be an agent, you don't need to wear a suit, but you don't want to be a slob. You want to look, nice business casual chic, show you have some kind of artistic flair to you while still showing you know how to be respectful, resourceful, and look good. The book recommends to wear something your age and something that makes you feel good. Obviously, make yourself feel good. They also say to invest in a good haircut. I would just say dress in the way that makes you feel like a rock star, because that is the biggest thing. And I was literally just talking about that in another video about reinventing yourself. Like, dress in a way that makes you feel your best, because once you feel your best, you're gonna perform your best during the interview, and just in general, people are gonna get a sense of who you are based off your aura, your vibe, your essence. If you put the time and effort into this power prep and your appearance, you are going to walk into the room relaxed and ready to give a good meeting, which is the next section, giving good meeting. Giving good meeting means you are prepared, relaxed, confident, and enthusiastic. According to the book, regardless of whether you're a PA or a CEO, it's the same little awkward dance, right? So first, step 1. You're waiting in the outer office. Hopefully you arrive 10 minutes early so you have plenty of time to relax. Take water if they offer it, because you may need that water later. And if you have to wait, do not be offended. Do not take it personally. Just remain calm, cool, and collected. Step 2, the small talk. This is where you try to find that common ground with someone, make a personal connection, make eye contact, a nice smile, and a solid handshake. Show that you are there and you are happy to be there and happy to meet with them, which I think is kind of obvious, but worth saying anyways. Now, the book makes sure to say that if you are in the office space and you really like it, give a nice compliment. But if you don't really like it, do not give a fake compliment, because it will be obvious. Step 3 is the heart of the matter, which could either be a meet and greet or a general meeting or an interview. If it's a meet and greet / general meeting, then, you're trying to sell yourself and make a personal connection, but you're not really trying to get a job. So you want to have that log line we talked about last time, your personal ACE story, ask questions, be polite. If possible, give a genuine compliment. And, talk about your goals. Ask about whoever you're meeting with opinions. Ask them for advice, suggestions on how to get to the next step of your career. Idea is that you're just trying to be impressive enough to get on their radar. You're not trying to get hired for a job right away. You're just trying to show you exist. Hey, this is what I want. So the next time they're talking to their friend Bob, they can be like, hey, Bob can be like, I'm looking for a PA in the art department. And you'd be like, oh my God, I just met with Lucifer, and Lucifer is looking for a job in the PA department. Oh my God, perfect. Then there's the interview, where you are obviously there to sell yourself. You are there to be like, hire me, in a polite, calm, and respectful manner. You want to impress your interviewer with your personality, with your passion. Hopefully you have a great work ethic. You have the ability to handle the specific job you want to be hired for. Now, if you're going there for an entry-level PA job, you want to dress nicely, make eye contact, have a good anecdote. Basically, your resume got you in the door. They just want to make sure you're a real person who they can spend 12 hours a day with. If you're there to be an assistant, a researcher, a coordinator, whatever, you have to be ready to talk about your experiences, and do not ask cliche questions. Show you did some research so that you have a good control of the situation. Then we have step 4, which is the close and the ask. Now, you want to have a nice, gracious exit and request a follow-up. If it's a general meeting, be like, hey, may I stay in touch with you? And then, stay in touch, obviously, but just let things happen naturally. And remember that not every time you meet with someone or have an interview, it's going to be a great success. And that's okay, because you're practicing. The idea is if you don't feel like it went well, don't think about it for the next 10 days. Just like be like, okay, this happened. It didn't go great, but it's fine. We're just going to move on. It's okay. Then we have step 5, which is the follow-up. Once you've had a meeting, you want to follow up immediately afterwards and then on an ongoing basis. So send a thank you within 24 hours, whether it's a general meeting or an interview. And then add that info to your networking database that we talked about before. After that, you check in 2 months later, then 3 to 4 months later, and then every 6 months. Just to be like, ping, hey, I exist. Ping, I did this cool thing. Ping, how are you? I did this job. What's up? Keep the emails short. You're not trying to get anywhere crazy with this. You're literally just trying to stay in touch, build up your network. I hope this was interesting. I know I'm working on these steps right now. So until I get hired, this will probably be the last video I make on this series for now, just because it feels stupid to kind of go beyond where I'm at, because I can't really talk about it. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to give it a nice thumbs up, comment down below what you learned or found interesting, and don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Bye.